In the late 1970s, General Motors took a bold step and decided to experiment with a four-door version of their iconic Corvette. Now, this wasn't just a wild idea from a car enthusiast, but an official project backed by GM. They wanted to see if a sporty car could also be practical. Could adding two extra doors to a sleek, compact design attract buyers? What challenges did they face, and why didn't this unusual Corvette catch on? The story of the Corvette America raises many questions, and to know all about it, you have to stay tuned till the end. In the car world, the 1965 Ferrari 330 GT 2.2 shooting brake sports wagon was one of those oddities. But even stranger was the creation of a four-door Chevrolet Corvette, which seemed almost impossible given the car's compact design meant for just two people. Yet in 1980, this unusual version of the Corvette became a reality. What's surprising is that the four-door Corvette wasn't a random project by an enthusiastic mechanic. It was actually a legitimate project, officially approved and funded by General Motors. They didn't build it in their own factories, but it was still a real initiative by the company. Not every idea turns out to be successful, and while some unconventional ideas can lead to great results, others are doomed from the start. The four-door Corvette falls into the latter category. The idea of adding two more doors to a Corvette probably didn't look good even on paper. However, sometimes things that seem very wrong can end up being unique and interesting. Just like how dogs with squished faces like pugs and boxers are so ugly, they're cute. The four-door Corvette was so wrong, it ended up being intriguing. Unfortunately, this bold engineering experiment did not catch on, and only a few were ever made. The story of how the rare four-door Corvette came out to be is fascinating. It began as an attempt to make a sporty, practical car, but ended up as an example of an ambitious idea that didn't quite work out. The car itself was based on the third-generation Corvette known as the C3. This model was popular for its sleek design and powerful performance. The plan was to extend the body and add two more doors, making it a more family-friendly version of the Corvette. The result was a longer and heavier car, which took some of the original sporty appeal. Despite its failure, the four-door Corvette remains a curious piece of automotive history. It's a reminder that even big companies like General Motors can make mistakes and that not all creative ideas lead to success. Yet this unusual car has its own charm and continues to interest car enthusiasts and collectors. In the late 1970s, it was a quirky time, and General Motors decided to join in on the fun with a unique idea: the four-door version of the Corvette C3. Instead of building this unusual car themselves, GM hired California Custom Coach in Pasadena, California, to design and produce it. Now, many sources mistakenly said this car was based on a 1979 Corvette, but the front bumper clearly shows it was a 1980 model. This year marked the introduction of the redesigned front end. The design process wasn't very complicated. Essentially, they cut up two Corvettes and welded them together. One car lost its trunk and the other lost its engine. When combined, they created a four-door sedan with a recognizable sloping front end of a Corvette. The finished car was 30 inches longer than a regular Corvette. Surprisingly, this only added 500 pounds to the overall weight. The extra length was added entirely to the wheelbase, which likely made the car less agile than the original Corvette. Creating a four-door Corvette was an ambitious project. GM wanted to offer a sporty car with more practicality, thinking it might attract buyers who needed more space but still wanted the Corvette's performance and style. However, the execution didn't quite hit the mark. The longer wheelbase made the car less nimble, and the added weight affected its performance. Despite these challenges, the car still looked like a Corvette and had the same powerful engine. It was a mix of sportiness and practicality that was unusual for its time. Only a few of these four-door Corvettes were ever built, making them rare collectibles today. Car enthusiasts and collectors find them interesting because they represent a bold experiment by GM. While the car didn't become a commercial success, it stands out in automotive history and a unique attempt to blend sportiness with practicality. The four-door Corvette's a reminder that car companies sometimes take risks to create something different. Even though this particular idea didn't catch on, it shows that innovation often involves trial and error. The story of the four-door Corvette highlights a time when car makers weren't afraid to try new things, even if the results were a bit unusual. The 1980 Corvette America is a unique twist on the classic sports car. It was much longer than the regular Corvette, and while this was shocking at first, it retained the sleek lines of the third generation model. The addition of 2 extra doors was the main difference, and it created some interesting features. One of these features was the inclusion of double removable T-tops, which gave the car a distinctive look. The extra doors also added a B-pillar, which had a stylish America logo and a cool retro font. Another unique aspect was the car's entry system. Instead of traditional door handles, the Corvette America used a keypad on the driver's side window to unlock and open the doors electronically. Aside from these changes, the Corvette America was similar to a standard Corvette in many ways. The interior and engine were mostly the same. However, the engine was a bit of a downside. In the late 70s and early 80s, engines were often detuned for various reasons. The most powerful engine available for a 1980 Corvette produced 225 horsepower, while the Corvette America came with a 195 horsepower L48 engine. Despite the less powerful engine, the Corvette America had several innovative features that made it stand out. The sleek design, extra doors, double T-tops, and electronic entry system were all unique elements that gave the car a special appeal. The car's length, added weight, and less powerful engine meant it wasn't as nimble or fast as a regular Corvette. But for those who valued style and innovation, the Corvette America was an interesting and attractive option. It was a bold experiment by General Motors to create something different and memorable. And the 1980 Corvette America is a rare find today, with only a few ever made. Its unique features and distinctive design make it a fascinating piece of automotive history. Enthusiasts and collectors appreciate it for its boldness and the way it represents a specific era in car design. The story of the Corvette America highlights the innovative spirit of the late 1970s and early 80s and shows that sometimes taking a risk can lead to something truly special. GM had an ambitious plan for the Corvette America. They wanted California Custom Coach to build 4 of these 4-door Corvettes each year, making it an ongoing project with new models released regularly. Unfortunately, this plan did not pan out. There are various estimates online about how many were actually built, with some suggesting as many as 10. However, GM Authority, a reliable source on all GM matters, reports that only 6 were produced. Out of these, 1 was a prototype and the other 5 were sold to the public. Given their rarity and the fact that they are Corvette variants, you might expect these cars to be displayed in museums or sold for high prices at auctions. Surprisingly, they are quite elusive and largely forgotten. At the time, a base model Corvette cost about $13,000, and a fully optioned one was around $14,000. Interestingly, this rare Corvette is not appreciated in value over the years. It originally cost the equivalent of $135,000 today, but the most recent known price for one was $125,000. So it hasn't even kept up with inflation and has actually decreased in value. For comparison, a 1967 Corvette Stingray originally sold for $4,388, which would be about $35,000 today. Putting 4 doors on a Corvette wasn't a bad idea, but it was just too expensive. Driving one of these cars would have been a definite conversation piece due to its unusual design. However, pulling up in a Ferrari 308 GTSI Quattro Valvole will have gotten just as much attention. The concept of a performance car with extra doors was solid and ahead of its time. Decades later, Chrysler created a 4-door Dodge Charger prototype, which eventually led to the popular Charger sports sedan. This shows that the idea of a 4-door sports car was not far-fetched. One puzzling aspect is why the Corvette America isn't more collectible or valued as a significant piece of Chevy history. It was a unique and innovative project by GM and California Custom Coach. While it didn't succeed commercially, it remains an intriguing part of automotive history. Enthusiasts and collectors appreciate its uniqueness and the story behind its creation. So, would you like to buy one? Make sure you let us know your views in the comments section below. And for more such amazing videos, please do subscribe to our channel.